I don't think she's his type.
Braceface is a Canadian cartoon that has tackled a lot of coming-of-age topics from insecurities to relationships. But even though they've had no problem tackling many controversial topics, it still tiptoes around saying the word gay. In the episode Game Setup Match, Sharon thinks she found the perfect match for her friend Dion, but does she really have an eye for love, or does she have some kind of unconscious bias?
They're perfect for each other. Funny, creative, and they even like the same fabric. So they both like rayon. Big deal.
What's good, guys? It's Alissa. If you're new here, hello. Of course, I gotta get the formalities out of the way. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. All that information is in my description box down below. I do have a second channel where I'm gonna start posting more lifestyle content over the summer because I love to vlog. And of course, I have a Sims channel that I post on regularly now. Took a little break, but we're back. And always, I want to thank my patrons over on Patreon for your monthly support. It absolutely does not go unnoticed. Now let's get into it. The episode starts with our main character's best friend Maria inviting her over to a concert with Brock, who is Maria's now boyfriend, and another couple, Alden and Marlo. Alden is Sharon's ex, so she declines to go because she feels like she's gonna be a fifth wheel.
Alden and Marlo are gonna be there too. I don't know, feels kind of fifth wheely, you know, two couples and me. So, who cares? We're all friends.
Sharon starts reminiscing about the times that they had when she was dating Alden and when Brock and Maria were just friends, patting herself on the back for seeing the potential in their love story. In previous Braceface breakdowns, I've discussed how Maria found Brock to be very annoying, but Sharon was adamant on her giving him a chance.
Hey, Maria.
Is he serious? What does it feel like to have all these guys think you're awesome? What guys? Mr. Riley, Brock. Ew! Maybe you should just give him a chance, then we could all hang out. Like Lucy and Ricky and Fred and Ethel. You can't just force yourself to like someone, Sharon.
So Maria does give her props on being a fantastic matchmaker, feeling like Sharon is never gonna let her forget this. When Sharon comes home, she finds her mom's office stuff all over the place and tripping over it. She's helped up by a guy named Houston, who we find out is gay.
I'm Houston.
And you're here because?
My ex-boyfriend's a patient of your mom's. She wants to redecorate her office, so he recommended me. I'm still a design student, so I work cheap.
I've covered a Braceface episode titled Gray Matters, where the topic was discrimination as it pertained to race. In this episode, Sharon asks her close friend and classmate Dion if he thinks that she's racist. And after debunking the theory by listing off her diverse group of friends, he refers to himself as adorable as a replacement for the word gay.
First of all, you're half Jewish, half wasp. Your best friend's a Chinese-Italian mix. Brock's black, and I'm adorable.
In this episode, I found it interesting that they could have a discussion about anti-Semitism and racism, but somehow the word gay is where it crossed the line. And this episode that I'm discussing in this video, even episodes later, does the same thing. Although you don't have to explicitly label your sexuality in conversation, I find all the ways that they went about letting us know that these characters were gay were absolutely hilarious. Houston saying that he has an ex-boyfriend is subtle, and I feel like it's actually a good way to introduce his sexuality, and it makes it feel casual and they don't really make a big deal about it. After Sharon finds out that Houston is a design student, she feels like she knows the perfect person for him.
I think it would be so cute if he had a boyfriend. Well, give him time. He'll meet someone. You know, there's this guy, Houston. He's cute, creative like Dion, really nice. And I'm pretty sure he's single. You want to set Dion up?
Later, so that Sharon doesn't feel like the fifth wheel, they invite Dion to hang with them at tennis. But she feels like her friends are picking on her after they pair her with Dion, calling them the singles.
Well, who's playing doubles?
Why don't the couples play doubles and the singles play singles?
Why don't the singles play singles?
Sharon decides to ask Dion why he doesn't have a partner, and he says that he just hasn't found the right person yet. Sharon is shocked that he hasn't found anyone because she feels like he's a total catch.
I guess I just haven't found the right person. I'm not looking for anyone. I'm looking for the one. The dating pool in Elkford's pretty small, and I'm already swimming in the shallow end.
Now, I interpreted that as it's probably a small population of gay men in Elkford, and also them being in high school, it's even more slim pickings because I can only assume that a lot of teenagers are closeted. Sharon immediately assumes that Dion is lonely, even though he never explicitly expressed this. So she puts on her matchmaker hat and decides to hook him up with Houston because he's a creative like Dion. Maria is against this idea of setting him up, feeling like Sharon just has to give him some time to find what he's looking for on his own. But of course, somehow Maria gets dragged into Sharon's plan to pretend that Dion and Houston just so happen to bump into each other at the fabric store, only for Dion to get the impression that Sharon actually has a crush on Houston after meeting him.
Maria! Dion! Oh, wow, what are you guys doing here? He's trying to dress me for my uncle's wedding.
I thought it was your cousin.
Houston, this is my friend Dion. Dion, Houston.
Nice to meet you.
Where have you been all my life? This is gorgeous. What's it made of?
Rayon.
However, he thinks that she's gonna get her heart broken, suspecting that Sharon is not his type.
I definitely got a funny vibe back there.
What kind of weird vibe?
Don't you find it odd that Sharon is hanging out with the guy who's redoing her mom's office?
Oh, you think she has a crush on him?
Exactamundo. And if that's the case, I don't think she's his type.
Sharon is still adamant that they're the perfect match for each other, super upset that her perfect layup didn't make it into the basket, so she decides to take things up a notch and invite Houston to a fake hangout.
Remember my friend Dion?
Of course. We're both fabric lovers.
He's a clothing designer and he never has enough storage in his studio.
Hey, I'm all about storage. You think you'd hire me?
Remember Houston? He really liked your jacket. He wanted to know where you got it.
It's my own design. But I'd make him one for a price.
As I mentioned earlier, I found the different ways that they avoided explicitly saying that these characters were gay hilarious. And in some ways, I felt like they were low-key shading Sharon without realizing it. When Sharon asks Houston if he remembers Dion, Houston says of course he remembers him because they're both fabric lovers. And I don't think Sharon caught that. Even Maria points out to Sharon that just because they both like rayon doesn't mean they're the perfect match. Because Sharon doesn't realize how silly it is that she wants to get them together so badly. But it was also funny to me the subtle ways that they kept hinting at these boys' sexuality. For instance, more examples would be Houston's necklace. It's a rainbow necklace, and then Dion also wears a rainbow jacket in this episode, which I don't think is something that he's worn in the show, at least from my recollection. The one workaround that they explained Houston's sexuality that didn't work for me was Dion saying that he got a funny vibe from Houston. Because if Dion himself is gay, why would he consider Houston being gay a funny vibe? It would just be what it is. Especially because he already said that he thinks that Sharon isn't his type. It's like, we get what he's trying to say. And I just feel like it's a little bit offensive to consider someone's sexuality a funny vibe. And another very silly rainbow addition, which I think was the worst offense, was Houston's car.
We'll be there in 5. Just make sure she doesn't see you.
Me? You're the one driving the neon station wagon.
It was ridiculously flashy, and even Dion made fun of it himself. Like, no one would actually be driving this flashy rainbow car just because they're gay. And the fact that both boys are creatives, with Dion being into fashion and Houston being an interior designer, I think he is, it's like, are you guys trying to hit at them being creative and gay by including these rainbows in everything that they wear? Of course, there's nothing wrong with it, and I'm sure somebody out there somewhere is just rainbow down, but it was just like, it doesn't fit these boys' personalities. I think that Dion would think the rainbow is tacky, and I also think that Houston would think the rainbows are tacky. Sharon's big plan was to lie to Dion that Houston was wondering where he got his jacket from. So she sets up a fake meet between them, telling Maria to show up as well with her boyfriend Brock and make an excuse for them to leave, allowing Houston and Dion to be alone.
You're right on time. Come on in. Ooh. Oh, darn. I left my purse at the pick-a-pita. We have to go back for it, Brock.
I know for sure you weren't carrying a purse. That's why you gave me your wallet to hold.
She didn't have a falafel yesterday. She had salad. Bye.
Sharon ends up leaving Dion and Houston alone to grab snacks, telling them to mingle. But while they're in her mom's office looking at Houston's redecorating work, Sharon's braces interfere with the phone, making Dion and Houston overhear Sharon talking to Maria about how they're hitting it off and how perfect of a match they are.
It's definitely one of my better ideas. Dion and Houston are perfect for each other.
Houston, we have a problem.
This is definitely one of my better ideas.
I was just...
Meddling in my life.
Dion is enraged at the thought of Sharon meddling in his life, and even Houston is so offended that he leaves. She feels like she was just trying to make Dion happy, but Dion didn't ask her to do this for him. Brock gives his perspective, telling Sharon that he's probably more embarrassed than mad, saying that being set up for dates just makes him look desperate.
If you have to be set up to get dates, it makes you look desperate.
But Dion didn't ask to be set up. Houston doesn't know that. And now Dion thinks Houston thinks Dion asked me to set them up.
The clear pattern here is that Sharon has selective listening. She already had a conversation with Dion where he explicitly expressed where he is in his dating journey. But instead of having a direct conversation with him, she assumes that what Brock says about how Dion feels is law and takes that conversation to Houston.
I just wanted you to know that the setup was my idea, not Dion's. He's not desperate or anything. He's an amazing person.
Is this an apology or a sales pitch?
I just know you'd have a lot in common. You're both creative and smart and...
You don't really know anything about me, Sharon. You didn't even ask if I was single.
Houston isn't concerned about Dion's perspective in all of this. He's also offended by Sharon's plan because she doesn't know him like that to know that he was even single or looking, but decided hooking him up with a stranger was a good idea, as if she and him already aren't that acquainted. I think this is an issue with many gay men from my perspective, I'm not a gay man, where they run into women who become way too personable with them, not seeing gay men as self-sufficient human beings with autonomy. They do that awkward thing where they find out someone is gay and immediately start using queer lingo every third word, or immediately think that you want to be friends with their other gay friend. But gay people are not a monolith just like everybody else. But Sharon is still adamant that they're perfect for each other though. And even more so now because she found out that they both like Celine Dion.
Dion! You're gonna wreck your ears.
From Celine? Never.
Celine Dion? How can these guys possibly be wrong for each other?
Sharon even tells Dion about her conversation with Houston, feeling like he has no reason to feel embarrassed anymore because she fixed everything. But again, Dion never said out of his mouth that he was embarrassed.
Is that what you think? That I'm embarrassed? Sharon, I'm angry. You set me up, even though I told you I wasn't looking for a relationship.
But you meant that you were waiting for the right person.
Oh, is that what I meant?
Okay, maybe Houston's not the one, but we shouldn't stop looking.
Do you even hear yourself?
It's not the first time I've been set up.
It was for me, and no offense, but it was hugely awkward.
They already had a conversation about where he was with his love life, where he expressed he's not looking for a relationship, and she decided to step in anyway, misinterpreting everything that he was saying, only hearing what she wanted to hear because she feels so strongly about Dion and Houston being together. When really, she probably just only knows one gay guy who's Dion and met another gay guy, Houston, and is trying to match them together even though they've never expressed attraction to each other. Even the reasons for their meeting was based on lies. Sharon said that Houston was interested in his jacket, but when Dion is trying to suddenly pitch this jacket to Houston to buy, you can tell that he doesn't like it, which also validates my point. Why would Houston have a flashy rainbow car if he thinks that Dion's jacket is tacky? It just doesn't make sense.
Yes, it tells me a lot about your taste. You're into clean lines, contemporary colors. Tell me, what do you think of these pockets?
It looks great.
It's fully lined too. I'm going to start making them to order. Here, why don't you try it on?
Oh, no, that's okay.
I insist.
So when Dion goes back to get his jacket from him, they vent about this whole matchmaking thing, with Houston telling Dion that she just wants him to be happy. But Dion grows even more frustrated because he doesn't understand where this notion of unhappiness is coming from all of a sudden, and would like to be freed from Sharon's good intentions. I thought that line was hilarious.
At least she wants you to be happy.
I am happy. Somebody save me from Sharon Spitz's good intentions.
Like, there's nothing more annoying than a person that thinks they're being helpful even when you decline their help. It's like, how do you think that this is helpful if I have told you no a million times? Like, please leave me alone. Sharon vents to her mom about how she feels like Dion doesn't appreciate her efforts to combat his loneliness. But her mom feels like she might be projecting her own feelings onto him.
He's lonely.
Did he say that?
Not exactly.
Is it possible that you wish you had someone special in your life, which is why you think Dion feels that way?
It's possible.
Which I think is exactly why Sharon is so adamant on this pairing. She wants to feel as though love isn't dead because she's losing hope. At the beginning of the episode, Sharon felt like it was the worst timing that she and Alden weren't together anymore because Maria and her can't double date.
Now that you and Brock are a couple, Alden and I are just friends.
That's true.
Which means we can't double date.
But we can, sort of.
I'm not going to the movie tomorrow.
All this relationship talk must have been getting to Sharon, making her feel lonely. So because Sharon wants someone special in her life, she probably thinks that everybody feels this way when they're not romantically involved with anyone. But that's not how Dion feels. And we also find out towards the end of the show that Alden and Sharon do still have feelings for each other. They end up back together, spoiler alert. Dion and Houston end up finding the humor in this whole matchmaking situation and decide to give Sharon a taste of her own medicine by setting her up with Dion's cousin Darren, who's basically like a gender bent version of her. They run into each other, with Darren listing off all the things that they have in common, from being vegetarians to their braces.
So do you guys want to go get a smoothie?
Not really.
Sure.
Maria!
We decided to find someone special for you.
You're perfect for each other and you have so much in common.
Like what? Braces and dogs?
Sharon is completely thrown off because she's never met this guy before, but apparently they have mutual friends. The mutual friends, of course, being Dion and Houston, who basically repeat the exact things that Sharon was saying to them to get them to hook up together.
This is totally uncomfortable. This is exactly what I did to you.
Yep. Sorry we had to do this, hon, but you weren't getting it.
I can't get over how much you look alike.
Personally, I don't see the resemblance.
Sharon does end up apologizing, realizing her wrongdoing, and tells them to never do this to her again. Now, personally, I feel like there's nothing necessarily offensive about this episode. However, that also isn't my place to assess. This also was a different time period. I believe this was like the early 2000s. There also is a law in some state where they can't even teach younger kids about, sexualities with saying the word gay. They feel like that's a taboo subject that's meant to talk about when kids are older. Interestingly enough, even though I know a lot of kids realize their sexualities at a very young age. Me personally, I definitely did through cartoons and certain things. It's like, oh, Wonder Woman kind of cute, So I just felt like this episode felt like a safe way to discuss children's sexuality because they had some limitations. And I only get this impression because they decided to end this episode with a closing shot of a rainbow. It makes me think about how certain topics can be spoken about, but not so blatantly, especially when it comes to people being gay seen as so taboo. But anyway, do you think this show was being subtle on purpose or just avoiding saying things outright? And how do you feel Braceface handled the queer representation in this show? I would love to know in the comments down below. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you would like to keep up with me outside of YouTube, you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. I do have a Twitter, but I never link it. All that information is in the description box down below. And if you made it to the end, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you would like to stick around, and hit the hype button if you can. And make sure you hit the notification bell to stay up to date with posts and uploads from me. But for now, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.